This German production of Wicked has completely just like captured my mind.
Nessa?
Yes?
Hey, Nessa. I've got something to confess. A reason why, well, why I asked you here tonight. Now I know it isn't fair.
Oh, Buck, I know why.
You do.
It's because...
For your consideration, all of our friends at Hamburg.
On the whole, I've been a saint to those poor unfortunate souls.
Hello, and welcome to Poor Unfortunate Podcast. I'm Connor Perkins.
And I'm Caroline Ameti.
Welcome to all of our new listeners. We are so happy to have you with us. Now is a great time to hit follow or subscribe wherever you're listening to the podcast. That way, all of our new episodes get downloaded right to your device and you don't even have to worry about it. And while you're at it, just keep in mind, if you like the episode at the end, a 5-star rating and a review can go a long way for us, and we'd appreciate that. And that goes the same for you returning listeners. Thank you for coming back. We appreciate you. We see you. We hear you. We love you.
But show yourself.
Oh, show yourself with a rating and a review. All right. Now that we've done all that good stuff, Caroline, here comes the question. What's new?
Well, let's see. I always start with my park stuff because it seems to be at the forefront of my mind a lot. So this past week, Trader Sam's, I'm obsessed with Trader Sam's. So I've been waiting. Trader Sam's in Disney World has reopened, as have the Moana rooms at the Polynesian. So a lot of things we've got a lot of reopenings happening. And we also, sadly, it seems to be, with the information we have, that Happily Ever After fireworks show will not be returning after the new 50th anniversary fireworks arrive. I kind of thought those would run for, 18 months and then Happily Ever After would return, but it doesn't seem to be.
I thought so too. Yeah. Our connects that we have working for Disney, it doesn't seem like it's coming back. So
I'm really sad.
It just feels so odd because of how long some of these nighttime spectaculars usually run.
Wishes was around forever.
Wishes was around forever. Illuminations was around for 20 years.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
It's so strange that they would spend so much time working on Happily Ever After, like having original animators who animated some of these characters.
The soundtrack is amazing. Oh yeah, man.
I mean, and I still haven't seen it because I wanted to see it in person. So I gotta figure out a way to get there.
Oh my God, we gotta get you down there. I need you to see it. Oh my gosh. They also finally reopened the Epcot monorail. So you can ride that now and see the construction happening in Epcot, which is just so much. It looks like a mess. It's just, I'm really kind of annoyed with Disney World right now. Just like, I'm hearing a lot of things that are just making me unhappy and hearing prices for the special events. And I'm just feeling a little annoyed. And like my family, we're Disney Vacation Club members. And we're actually at the point where we're like, is there a point to this anymore? And it kind of feels like there isn't. So I don't know. I don't know. I said to Connor, we were talking about some other updates before. I think I'm a little bit of a crank right now, but I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of things feel kind of disappointing to me right now.
Yeah.
Also, again, maybe I am a crab. You guys tell me what you think. I watched the first episode of Behind the Attraction, and I've been waiting for this series to come out. I was so excited. And I really
Jesus.
Didn't
hated it.
No, I didn't hate it.
Oh my God.
The editing style is strange to me, and the narration is very intrusive. And I really didn't enjoy it, and I was looking forward to it for so long.
Holy wow.
I know.
Caroline. Wow. Wow.
I'm trying to think if I have any good updates, but I'm not sure if I do. I watched a whole vlog from Prince Charming Dev, who you all know I watch on YouTube, of Avengers Campus. And Avengers Campus, honestly, yes, we've talked about it. We need more attractions, but it looks really awesome. It looks really, really cool.
The Contemporary Resort has updated some of their rooms with the Incredibles theme.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I saw today on Twitter that was really awesome is this one person, I retweeted them. They redesigned those new Incredibles rooms in the style of Loki, the TV show, and the TVA, which is all that mid-century modern like stuff. And it looks unreal. And I was like, you know what? And maybe this is a hot take, but if they were to like completely redo the Contemporary Resort as the TVA,
oh wow,
I don't think I would be mad about it.
Oh,
Some of the designs that this person came up with are like really, really freaking cool. And it really just, it works. But speaking of Loki, we had the season finale of Loki, which was bonkers. And it's going to be returning for a season 2. So
I didn't know that.
Exciting.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, they announced it at the end of the episode.
Cool.
Caroline, I did finally watch Luca.
Okay.
So, yeah, I liked it.
This is terrible. I'm so sorry, everyone. I just don't know if I liked it.
I think it's because you were probably I was looking for that big emotional impact from this movie and didn't have it.
And you know what?
But I was like, I was okay with that.
But like, I was thinking about, sure, all of the really classic Pixar movies do have the big emotional impact, true. But I like them for just like the fun, and it just wasn't very fun to me. I was a little bit bored. I was looking at my phone. I don't know. I thought that especially like his parents were so unoriginal. Like the characters are becoming so unoriginal to me. They don't feel very iconic anymore. I mean, Silencio, Bruno, that's great. We're going to have that. But I'm like, I don't know.
I really liked it. I thought it was fun and imaginative and gay.
Okay.
But I'm also just sort of like, Pixar, we need to take it a little bit easy on the transformation tropes in the movies because like we've had quite a few. We can take a little bit of a break from them.
They're boring. They're boring now. Also, it's just like what I loved about Pixar was taking something that you wouldn't think to look at the other side of. Like the monster in the closet.
Yeah.
They don't do that shit anymore.
Well, that's what I liked about Luca, where it's like the sea monsters. You know, all the sea monsters that you see on the maps, the old maps and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, let's do that.
Yeah. Then they mix it with too many things. The Italian thing and the racing and the pasta. I just don't know.
Yeah, no, I liked Luca. I liked it because I was like, this is a Pixar movie that I feel like will be very easy for me to put on the background while I'm doing things or like while I'm falling asleep. But also I'm like, the next pavilion expansion needs to be the Italy pavilion because I would love to have the Venice section, but then like you go around the corner and you get the more like Riviera sort of situation happening and maybe a ride with Vespas because I liked how linked the movie was to Italian culture. That's the one thing I think Pixar does really, really well of like linking movies to their settings very concretely so that if they were to be added to a pavilion, i.e. Ratatouille, it doesn't feel like you're diminishing the value of the pavilion itself because it's still a country and it's still its own thing. And it's like these two things are working together as opposed to like we're throwing Frozen in Norway because it's the same where it's like, yes, but also no, because it's very clearly Arendelle. It's not. Yeah. No, it's a made up kingdom.
Not a lot of things lately I've been like, wow, I loved that. So I think it's me.
I mean, I think also it is the difference of like we're in the pandemic and I think there is something to be said of going to the theater to watch something and feeling things, not having the distractions, feeling things as a collective.
Yeah,
like,
true.
It definitely adds something to a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't... in terms of other things,
did we talk about last time about the new quote unquote fast pass system they're going to be trying out in Disneyland Paris?
No.
So Disneyland Paris is going to be testing the system. I cannot remember if they're calling it Fast Pass or not. Probably not. But what it is you will pay per ride that you want a Fast Pass. Like starting at like €8, which is like $10 per ride that you want a Fast Pass. And then they're also bringing along with that the system of once the standby lines become past a certain point of like length, I guess, of wait time, you get put into this virtual kind of queue and a time to come back later. And you're sent to like go do something else, wander around, whatever, and come back then. I get it. It kind of makes sense. But to me, it also feels like they're doing that because they're like, we want you to go to the gift shops and look around there while you wait for your ride and buy things.
Yeah.
But again, I'm really cynical today. I don't know what's happening, but that's what it sounds like to me.
Well, see, here's my reaction to that. So like, you know, I'm kind of okay with a virtual queue. I would rather not have to spend all of my time just standing.
Especially with COVID. Yeah, bye-bye.
Yeah, especially with COVID. But here's the thing that really grinds my gears is that pay to play sort of thing with
and
Fast
it's
Pass.
Per ride. Oh my gosh.
That is very down market from Disney. When Disney sort of like unveiled the Fast Pass, I remember the ads, the Pooh go the long lines ad that would be in the middle of your map. Like that was huge, and a lot of other theme parks got on board with it, and a lot of other theme parks did it by having you pay to play, where you would pay per ride, or sometimes they would be like, you pay this amount of money for 3 rides, or like they'd have like sort of deals associated with it. And usually those theme parks are the ones that like, you know, they cost a little bit less, but also their queues are not as interesting as the Disney ones. Like they're not fully invested in like giving you an experiential treatment as you are going onto a ride like Disney is. For the amount of money that you're paying in Disney, I feel like a free Fast Pass is like the least you can do.
And I'll admit, when I've gone to Disneyland and I know I'm there for one day, I've bought, I think, what do they call it there? Max Pass, I think is what they call it, which is like Universal Fast Pass for the day pretty much. And also they include Photo Pass stuff. Again, it's the same thing. Should we have to be paying extra for Fast Passes? No. But something about it for me where it was like an extra thing for the whole day felt a little bit better to me. This per ride thing, that will add up beyond anything that the Max Pass cost. It'll add up immediately.
I mean, if you think about Fast Pass Plus, you get your 3 Fast Passes per person per park ticket or whatever. That already is $30 per park ticket per day. If you're a family of 4, that's $120 extra dollars.
Oh, and it also
just to have Fast Passes.
It depends on the attraction. Some of them are more expensive than that.
This is ridiculous.
Like,
wow, that makes me really sad.
Connor, I need to talk about something happy. And
okay.
I'm really excited about our episode, actually. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's just talk about the episode because I don't have anything else. That was a weird news.
I'm sorry, I really brought the negativity.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I think that actually does serve us really well for what we're going to do today. So,
actually does.
Yeah. So as you all know, this is our tips and tricks episode. In this episode, we've, done a different sort of thing again, because that's how we do. I'm calling this a character curation.
Ooh, character curation. I like that.
So basically what we've done is we have taken 2 characters. I have one, Caroline has one, that come at the suggestion of you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you
for those suggestions on Instagram. And we have curated some different things to do to sort of help you evoke the essence of that character.
And the 2 characters that we landed on, I feel like are two pretty beloved characters. So it's also just like I think these are 2 characters that people really can't get enough of. And so we're just supplying you with some different ways to get some more of them if you love them. And I think they're two really good ones.
Yeah. And I feel like with how low that we were just in, we could really use the sort of pick-me-ups that come with both of these characters.
Yes, and they will do it in two very different ways too. So pick your adventure. It's depending on what kind of uplifting you need, we've got you covered, I think.
Yeah, we do.
All right, so I'm going to start us off. So the listener suggested character that I have chosen to do a character curation for today is my girl and yours, Yzma, from The Emperor's New Groove. Gosh, I love her. I was her for Halloween a couple of Halloweens ago. I had the best time ever. She's just awesome. So I'm just going to start us off with some background info on Yzma, and then we will jump into some curated Yzma-related things for you. All right, let's do this. So for those of you who don't know, Yzma is the antagonist of the 2000 feature film, The Emperor's New Groove. What a great film. Yzma is the longtime advisor of the selfish, lazy, completely terrible Emperor Kuzco. When he unceremoniously fires her after her lifetime of service to the royal family, she sets out to murder him and become the empress. With her knowledge of chemistry and some extremely limited assistance from her henchman Kronk, Yzma has become a cult favorite Disney villain. While underrepresented in the parks and in media, there is still a lot of Yzma to be found if you look for it. And honestly, it's really hard not to be obsessed with her. Her creation was inspired by many villains we already love, specifically Cruella de Vil in design, and Ursula and the Evil Queen in her desire for revenge and power. Also, she is a total mood. Although her willingness to resort to murder in order to rule the Incan Empire is like a little iffy, her motivation is extremely sound.
It really is.
She's surrounded by moronic men, and even though she has a tendency to overcomplicate things and her self-esteem is a little bit inflated, she's worked for at least 18 years, probably more, to qualify for the job that she wants, and she cannot seem to get the promotion. She sets out to get what she wants and misses the mark by just a hair every single time. So, look at me and tell me that that isn't relatable.
But also, the job that she's doing where she's, holding audiences with all of the townspeople and all of the people, that's things that Kuzco doesn't actually really care about doing anyway. Mm-hmm. She's doing all of the dirty work for him and is kind of happy and enthusiastic to do it.
Yeah. Well, that leads perfectly into my next point, which is that Yzma is also a fantastic villain because it's so easy to dislike the person that she dislikes. Kuzco is so unlikable. And honestly, it relates to our last episode, Born Bad. We talked a bit about how much those films help us get behind the villains we would normally wave off as just plain evil, depending on how we use the narration and all these things. And interestingly, even though Kuzco narrates this, I don't feel like Yzma needs an origin story per se, because this film makes it pretty easy to see things from her perspective the whole time.
Yeah.
So we're all set. And I think that's really well done. And Yzma's history is really interesting. And I didn't really know this, it definitely led to the creation of another one of the best villains ever, Mother Gothel. And here's how. So Yzma began as the villain in The Kingdom of the Sun, which was going to be an epic romantic musical animated film based upon the structure of The Prince and the Pauper and inspired by Incan mythology. It began development in 1994, and it was going to be directed by Roger Allers with epic music by Sting, some of which survived. Mm-hmm. The character archetypes of Kuzco and Yzma have always existed in every version of the tale that became The Emperor's New Groove. In The Kingdom of the Sun, Kuzco is Manco, and Manco was an emperor who had a nearly identical twin in a peasant, Pacha. And Yzma was a high priestess who wanted to regain her youth and beauty by destroying the sun, and sort of wanted to take over the kingdom too, but that was sort of a side desire. So hello, Mother Gothel, the power of the sun, regaining youth and beauty, it's all in there. Michael Eisner wanted Barbra Streisand for the role, but according to director Roger Allers, there was no other choice for him except Eartha Kitt. The Kingdom of the Sun's development was rife with issues, tons of them, and although Yzma was an element that was always working, her motivation in the Kingdom of the Sun was a bit unclear. She wanted to plunge the world into darkness and raise the dead, but she also wanted youth and beauty, and she also sort of wanted power. And so in this version of the story, Yzma was once very well known for her beauty and now blames her age and ugliness on the sun.
I could have gotten behind that.
Yeah, I can get behind it.
I could have gotten behind all this, like youth and beauty and also wanting to raise the dead. Like I can get behind all of that.
Also, I was behind this. Her sidekick was a talking talisman named Hukwa, voiced by Harvey Fierstein. That sounds awesome.
Hell yes. Harvey Fierstein and Eartha Kitt, their voices
my
together.
God. Yeah.
Slay me.
Yeah. Her death would come from the sun itself. So at the climax of the movie, she would summon the dark spirit Supai to engulf the kingdom. But that story's version of Pacha would lasso the sun, pull it down to earth, inspired by Incan mythology, and it would destroy her. So Sting and David Hartley had written the song Snuff Out the Light for Yzma, in which she is accompanied by 3 mummy sidekicks, Mick, Bowie, and Lemmy, in a song detailing her plan to unleash the power of the dark spirit Supai to destroy the sun. We also get some fun history in the song about the fact that her father was the royal mortician. So the song was partially animated before Kingdom of the Sun was scrapped, and you can see it if you can find the documentary called The Sweatbox online. The documentary followed the development of Kingdom of the Sun and was directed by Sting's wife, Trudy Styler. It's difficult to find, as the tagline is, the film Disney don't want you to see. But you can indeed find it. There is a link to it on Disney Wiki. So I'll put that somewhere because I fully plan on watching it after this. It sounds so interesting. So before I get carried away by the development of this film, which I'm fascinated by.
Yeah, I feel like that could be an entire episode itself.
Yes, I was going to say, we need to talk about Kingdom of the Sun because I love Emperor's New Groove, but I think we need to revisit that idea. So back to Yzma. You can still hear her song Snuff Out the Light on the soundtrack for The Emperor's New Groove, although I don't understand why they had to tease us with this song, even though we don't get it in the movie. So when the tides began to turn Kingdom of the Sun into a buddy comedy, Yzma luckily made it into the new version of the story as well. David Spade as Kuzco, or that archetype, and Eartha Kitt as the Yzma archetype were the 2 elements that anchored the new film. The new director, Mark Dindal, brought storyboards of the secret lab scene to Eartha Kitt and started describing the scene and the new tone of the movie to her, and he started performing some of the voices. And then a few boards in, Eartha Kitt started reading Yzma's lines, and according to Mark Dindal, she instantly locked in. Nothing like that's ever happened to me with an actor. So Yzma's vanity was exchanged for more of a lust for revenge and power, and her original animator, Andreas Deja, departed the production because he was so unhappy with the new direction the film and character were taking, and he was replaced by Dale Bayer. Yzma was also given a reprise of the opening song Perfect World to sing when she became the Empress, but that was cut because it allegedly slowed down the story, and I say boo.
I'm also just like, how can you, as a human being, as an arts worker, make a decision to cut Eartha Kitt singing anything? Like, you can't do that.
I know. Quickly, just to summarize her background, Yzma's angular design is inspired by the aforementioned Cruella de Vil, as well as singer Yma Sumac, who is a Peruvian coloratura soprano. Her movements were also just inspired by Eartha Kitt herself, who Kingdom of the Sun director Richard Allers said would come into the recording booth and do these stretches, stretching her leg up over her head like a dancer does. And she had this unpredictable way of reading lines. So this is like, Yzma is who she is because of Eartha Kitt. And of course, Yzma's purple and black costuming indicate her proximity to royalty, as well as madness. Yzma was always voiced by Eartha Kitt, who won 3 Annies and 2 Emmys for the role. And now, in any iteration that comes up, is voiced by Candy Milo, who is the voice of Dexter from Dexter's Lab. So cool.
All right.
And we found out a little bit, she appears in some other places, which I will describe, but in the short series Descendants Wicked World, it was revealed that Yzma had a son named Zevin.
Who slept with that old creature?
That's what I'm thinking. I need to know. Actually, we're lying. I do need an origin story.
I mean, some of these
descendants
spins, I'm just like,
I know.
I'm just like, on one hand, I'm like, what sick ass brain do you have? But then on the other hand, I'm just like, whatever.
I know.
I'm like, fuck it, whatever.
Sure. Remember when we thought we were going to be the Descendants?
Oh, we were discussing that
in
at
Most.
Yeah. That's the most us sentence ever. Our entire lives are going to get changed. We're going to work for Disney and be the next hottest things around a, bowl of queso at Most. I think that was around the same time that I went and I anticipated giving you a refill and you cried.
That checks out. Okay, so as part of this character curation, one of the things that we have done are put together some playlists for you. So here is my Yzma-inspired playlist. It includes musical moments that we do have available from her, as well as some jams to play when you're plotting revenge against your enemies or planning a dinner party that will end in murder. So just put this baby on shuffle, make yourself some kind of pink drink, and have some spinach puffs. So of course, we have to include Snuff Out the Light because it is the big song that we have from Yzma. Yzma also has a song called Like a Million that is from Kronk's New Groove. We definitely want to include that. It's very much in the same vein as a lot of the other Emperor's New Groove stuff. A little jazzy. It's great. Also, we have Yzmopolis from the Emperor's New School series, which we're going to talk about in a little while. But this song is also performed aboard the Disney Cruise Line in the Villains Tonight show.
Oh.
So those are the 3 songs that actually belong to Yzma that we definitely need to include. And now we're going to jump into some things that are a bit more Yzma inspired. There's a fantastic song sung by Eartha Kitt called I Wanna Be Evil.
Santa Baby. Oh.
Santa Baby. Yeah, sure. Fuck it. Put Santa Baby.
Put it in.
Oh my God. And the lyrics honestly speak for themselves. Then let's go with the classic You Don't Own Me by Joan Jett, just because the vibe is very right for this. And I feel like that's more of the dinner party portion of this playlist. Like it sends the message, but it's still a chill song. Then I thought we should go with No Body, No Crime by Taylor Swift. Again, just for the subject matter. And we're going a little bit darker with that song. Then I'm thinking, okay, we still want the swinging influence of the Emperor's New Groove. So let's include What's New Pussycat by Tom Jones. Number 1, because of the Tom Jones connection to the Emperor's New Groove's soundtrack. But also, Yzma turns into a pussycat. So that's pretty obvious.
My God.
We needed to pick it up a little. So next I would like to include Free Woman by Lady Gaga. When you're, when you want to tap a little bit more into the anger.
I'm a free woman.
Yeah, I'm a free woman. I also want to include, I have this on a Halloween playlist, and this really felt like it fit for me too. A Little Wicked by Valerie Broussard. I also want to include All the Good Girls Go to Hell by Billie Eilish. Just again, for the vibes. Then I also really like, I felt like I hadn't touched on enough of the anger that's simmering underneath Yzma. And so I want to include My Power by Beyonce from the Lion King, The Gift soundtrack. It's literally all about being like, no one can take my power. I am the queen. Yes.
Yep.
And then something felt like it was missing from this playlist. And I want to include My Way by Frank Sinatra because I could also see like a compilation of like Yzma falling off cliffs and like being squashed and all these things like to the song My Way. And it still ties into that jazzy feeling as well. Okay, that is my Yzma playlist. So we will put these playlists as usual up on our Spotify for you all to partake in. So then to watch, I've mentioned them a little bit, but let's jump into the other places that we can get your Yzma fix outside of the Emperor's New Groove. I honestly forgot a little bit that there are some options. So 2005's Kronk's New Groove is available on Disney Plus and features Yzma back to her old tricks. You can see her taking advantage of innocence, transforming into different animals, and generally just getting chased, smashed, and attacked for about an hour and 10 minutes. It's a quick movie. It's not the best movie ever. It got terrible reviews online. But honestly, I watched it one year pre-gaming for Halloween, and it really hit the spot. So just do with that what you will. Then we've got the Emperor's New School series. This Disney Channel series ran for 2 seasons from January 2006 to November 2008 and is also available on Disney+. It features, once again, the extremely special treat of Eartha Kitt reprising her role as Yzma. And the series was canceled after she sadly passed away in 2008. Because really, I don't know how you go on from that. It takes place after the events of The Emperor's New Groove and follows Kuzco's time at the Kuzco Academy, which he must graduate from in order to actually become the Emperor. The series was ordered after the successful ratings of The Emperor's New Groove in syndication. So it did okay in theaters, but great ratings in syndication. Makes so much sense to me. There are 52 episodes of Yzma's attempts to thwart Kuzco to enjoy, and we even get to meet her mother, Yzma, and her twin nephews, Zim and Zam. Zim and Zam.
Beautiful.
Also, how old must her mother be? I haven't watched, so I have to watch to find out.
Ancient.
Yeah, oh my God.
Yeah.
She's bones. She's just bones. Oh my gosh. So yes, I have not watched the series, so if you have, let me know what you thought. I'm going to jump on and watch a couple. I don't know how long I'm going to last, but I'm going to give it a try.
I think I watched a couple when they were coming.
That's what I was surprised that I didn't when it was coming out in 2006. I totally would have watched that. I don't know why I didn't. And also for some more creative things, you can pop over to YouTube and watch the Wonderful World of Animation show from Disney's Hollywood Studios, if someone has, filmed that live in 4K for you, in which Yzma is one of the main villains, which is a treat because that doesn't usually happen. Or you can watch the Villains Tonight show from the Disney Cruise Line. It really, like I said, it's just really cool to see Yzma be considered a real main part of the Disney villain canon because that does not happen often. And as previously mentioned, I think definitely something on the watch list is the Sweatbox documentary, which follows the creation of Kingdom of the Sun, especially because it features deleted sequences of Yzma's that you cannot find anywhere else. I'm so excited to watch that. And once again, I will post the link somewhere so you all can see it because it's a little hard to track down. Sometimes it's up somewhere and it gets taken down again. So move quickly on that. All right, to read. We're going to go Yzma inspired for this category, so here are some things that I think she would enjoy. First of all, the official Disney Parks drink recipe book by Ashley Kraft. Make like Yzma, whip up a beautiful but lethal cocktail for yourself. I personally think that Yzma would enjoy the spooky apple punch from the Flame Tree Barbecue, which they have in the book. This next one gives me life. This is a book by Eartha Kitt herself.
Oh, God.
It is called, so number one, it's by Eartha Kitt, so it makes sense. But it's called Rejuvenate. It's Never Too Late. This book, oh my gosh, this book is 1,000,000% one that Yzma would buy because it's all about how to look and feel as good as then 73-year-old Eartha Kitt did when she wrote the book. The tagline is Eartha Kitt's perfect strategies for staying healthy and vital in mind and body. So she tells her life story, but also just breaks down exercises that you can do to just be your best and most beautiful, youthful, healthy self. So honestly, forget destroying the sun. Yzma would 100% read that, and it's written by Eartha Kitt. It's perfect. And then finally, if you are an overthinker like Yzma, because really all of her plots go wrong just because she overcomplicates it every single time, I think you may want to pick up the book Fuck Feelings, One Shrink's Practical Advice for Managing All Life's Impossible Problems, written by Dr. Michael and Sarah Bennett. It has a comedic edge, and according to the back cover, it will help you put aside your unrealistic wishes, stop trying to change things you can't change, and do the best with what you can control. The first steps to managing all of life's impossible problems. I think number one, Yzma really needed this book.
Yeah.
But also sometimes when you're channeling your inner Yzma and trying to destroy everybody who's in your way, that comes with its problems. And I like the tone of this book because it's extremely blunt. It's not one of those soft, huggy self-help books. I think this is the kind of thing that can help you if you're feeling a little bit like Yzma and your life is overcomplicated and you hate everybody and you have these wishes that you just can't seem to make come true. So there you go. Those are 3 books that you can enjoy.
Nice.
And finally, my final category. Hello, it is me, your resident shopping bad influence. Here are things you can buy. Yzma is so beloved, yet often missing from Disney villain merch. So it's really fun to find things that feature her. I'll recommend a few literal items and then some things that are more Yzma inspired. So, of course, as I always say, you can go full out and buy the Yzma Loungefly mini backpack. It exists. I don't know how long it will exist. If you love her, jump on it. It's amazing.
Why haven't you bought that? I sent that to you when it came out. Why didn't you do it?
Because I'm afraid it's not going to go with enough outfits.
Oh my God.
I'm just saying.
Well, you just buy that one and then you'll buy another one.
I know. That is the reason why I haven't bought any Loungefly, because I know that it's just a slippery slope. Yeah.
Yep.
As far as small shops, I think if you love Yzma, the small shop to go to is Shop Park Candy. They have a couple of fantastic Yzma items. There's a Llama Potion Christmas ornament, a Llama Potion bottle opener, and this fantastic, they call it a Mai Tai glass. It's just like a little like short glass that says wrong lever on it in a fantastic retro-inspired design with also like a retro-looking like Yzma kitty cat on it. It's so cool. And then a freaking Llama Potion-shaped purse that is currently sold out, but I will get my hands on if they bring it back. Because it's a Llama Potion bag crossbody. That's what I need to have. It's so cool. If you're going to Etsy, there is a fantastic purple drink tumbler that says, "This isn't potion, this is extract of llama," and it's a purple tumbler. It's amazing. If you want to bound as Yzma, Etsy also has great Yzma-inspired circular turquoise earrings, and I think those are super key to an Yzma look, is that exact color of turquoise in the big earrings. You can totally thrift or make your own of those as well. Okay, so if you want to go more Yzma-inspired, as an ode to Yzma's cucumber face mask moment, I recommend the Disney Princess Beauty Fairy Tale Sheet Mask Collection from Mad Beauty. There's literally no way that Yzma would not want the skin of either Aurora, Ariel, Belle, or Jasmine. Those are the ones that are in the collection. And each mask has its own properties and scent. So there's lavender, green tea, rosewater, and cucumber. Definitely, like, it's an ode to the moment, but like she would totally rip the skin off of any of those princesses. So there you go. I also feel like Yzma, and this is the most expensive item on the list. Here I go again, not being realistic, but we have to throw one of those in.
Wait, this is the most expensive? You've got a Loungefly on there.
Oh, this is worse. I feel like Yzma would totally own the Bartesian cocktail maker. This is essentially one of those Keurigs for cocktails. But the thing about this one is it so looks like something that belongs in Yzma's lab, because like a Keurig, there's the center section where you put the pod in.
Yeah.
But there are 4 like canister liquid reservoirs that are clear around it. So it literally looks like potions like bubbling around the maker. Like the vibe is immaculate. And finally, Yzma is notably one of the only villains who changes outfits many times throughout her film. How does she do it? I really have no idea, but the only way for us peasants to pull that off sustainably would be through a Rent the Runway subscription. For those who don't know, it's a fashion subscription service that allows customers to rent designer clothing at extremely slashed prices. So if you're trying to like keep this cohesive look and look amazing all of the time, but also never repeat an outfit like Yzma, this is definitely the way to do it. And there you have it. Yzma.
Wow. You've actually gotten out of the funk that you were in. I can see you visibly, and you sound very empowered, like Yzma.
Look at that. We did it.
We did it.
And before I finish up, I would just like to shout out our friend Ryan from the Disney Inside Out podcast. He's the one who suggested Yzma. So thank you so much for giving me this moment.
So my character could not be more different than Yzma, and came as a suggestion from a few people, actually. And it's a character that we haven't really talked a whole lot about here on the podcast. And it is none other than that cute little yellow-furred, red-shirted bear, Winnie the Pooh. So much like Caroline, I have a few things that'll help you channel your inner Pooh. But first, I have some background information about Winnie the Pooh.
Yay.
So this is about, kind of larger Winnie the Pooh than just Disney. So we get to sort of branch out a little bit here.
Love that.
All right. Winnie the Pooh. Who is he? Where does he come from? Well, we all know him as the adorable yellow bear that joined the Disney Library in 1966 with his first short, and then in 1977 with the film The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, voiced by Sterling Holloway and associated with some of the most iconic music from the Sherman Brothers. But Winnie the Pooh originally comes from the 1926 collection of stories Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne, illustrated by E.H. Shepard, and the following book, The House at Pooh Corner, in 1928. So Pooh originally appeared as Edward Bear in a poem called When We Were Very Young, not to be confused with the song When We Were Young by the Killers. And the poem, I know, right? But the poem When We Were Very Young was originally published in the Punch newspaper in 1924 as Teddy Bear. So the article that he posted in the newspaper then made it into When We Were Young, the sort of collection of poems. Winnie the Pooh is based on Milne's son's teddy bear that was named Edward until he renamed it on a whim based on a black bear that he would see at the London Zoo named Winnie. The Pooh comes from a title that Milne's son had given to a swan they once saw on holiday. And Milne's son would go down, he would feed the swan in the morning, but if it wouldn't come, he would say Pooh to show him how little he cared about it.
Oh my gosh.
It's so precious and cute.
Oh my gosh.
The real Winnie, so the bear cub in the London Zoo, was purchased by Canadian Lieutenant Harry Colburn from a hunter while he was headed to England during World War I. And the bear cub was named after Colburn's hometown of Winnipeg, Manitoba. And Winnie became one of the most popular attractions at the London Zoo. So the Pooh stories were written for Milne's son, who is named Christopher Robin, and based on his toy animals. According to Christopher Milne's biography, the 100-Acre Wood is a direct depiction of the Ashdown Forest in East Sussex, England, and E.H. Shepard, who did the illustrations, used the forest as a direct inspiration for all of the illustrations with the stories. These books were a huge success and are still held with great respect in British history. They came at a time of war and turmoil between World War I, World War II, when a lot of England was searching for comfort and solace. And this would connect people with their families, and it would also connect them back to their own childhood. In 1930, producer Stephen Schlesinger licensed the rights to the characters and began merchandising the Winnie the Pooh characters. And he even started giving them color. So this is the time that the iconic red shirt was born for Winnie the Pooh. And these characters were licensed for records. They were licensed for games, dolls, jigsaw puzzles, all kinds of little things. And when Schlesinger died, his wife continued licensing the characters until in 1961, she licensed them to Walt Disney Productions because Walt loved reading these stories with his daughters and was like, I need to have them. I want them. I got them. So that's what happened. What Walt wanted, he got. I know. I'm like, Jesus.
Must be nice.
So Pooh first appeared in the Disney featurette Winnie the Pooh and the Honey Tree in 1966. And then the rest is history. And then that became like a record that you could listen to. And then eventually went on to the first feature film of Winnie the Pooh, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, which I think is the Winnie the Pooh that we all think of. It has the honey tree sequence in it. It's got the blustery day, heffalumps and woozles, all the good stuff that you encounter on the ride when you go into a Disney park as well. So a lot of this like sort of brief background research comes from a piece that the Smithsonian Magazine did about Winnie the Pooh, and this came out around the time of the film Goodbye Christopher Robin. This piece by Smithsonian Magazine does a really nice job of sort of diving into the history of it, diving a little bit into that movie Goodbye Christopher Robin, A.A. Milne, and especially his son, who unfortunately faced some lifelong struggles being essentially a child star without any sort of choice. Everyone in England knew Christopher Robin, and he never sort of got that normal childhood that Christopher Robin in in the stories sort of got. So that's the little sort of double-edged tragic story of it all. But I'm going to read a passage from the article because I think it really articulates why these stories are so long-lasting and the type of vibe that I'm going for in my curation of Winnie the Pooh. Instead of really honing in on necessarily the character of Winnie the Pooh, I'm taking him and sort of jumping him or extrapolating it out to Winnie the Pooh as we know and need him as adults. So that's the sort of spin that I'm taking on this. Right. But here's the quote from the article. The heart of Goodbye Christopher Robin is about what it means for a parent to raise a child under extraordinary circumstances. But Cottrell Bryce, who is one of the filmmakers, believes there is a simple, basic human reason why Milne and Shepard's masterworks remain essential in everyday parental life, even in the face of Disney. In those early cartoons, Winnie the Pooh was memorably voiced by Sterling Holloway, but even his warm, cuddly characterizations are no match for Mom and Dad. Quote, the Pooh books were written for the nursery to be read intimately to a little child, says Cottrell Bryce. Quote, the books offer a deep moment between child and parent at bedtime. It's primal and comes from love. End quote. Oh. I think this is so true, and it perfectly articulates why these stories just continue on and on. I mean, my nephew was just born, and one of the gifts was the collected stories of Winnie the Pooh and a stuffed Winnie the Pooh bear. And it's those moments with a child where we are all at once making childhood memories with them and also relating back to our own. And I think that's the magic of Winnie the Pooh. Yeah. And there are very few things, I think, in the world that have that same effect. And I think that's one of the things that Disney in general does for a lot of people.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
Disney parks especially do that. But Winnie the Pooh does it in this sort of transcendental way. It transcends so much time, everything.
I wailed when I saw Christopher Robin in movie theaters. I was sitting there wailing because it just touches on that primal childhood feeling.
Would you believe I still have not watched Christopher Robin because I am scared too?
You should be very, very
I'm
afraid.
Scared too.
With the right reason.
Scared too. I mean, it's Ewan McGregor and Haley Atwell, and I'm gonna die, and I can't.
It's not okay.
But I will get to it one day. I also just want to make a distinction for all of our listeners. Christopher Robin is the movie that came out with Ewan McGregor and Haley Atwell, and that's a licensed Disney movie. Goodbye Christopher Robin that I'm referencing in the Smithsonian article, that is a different film altogether and is more about the backstory of A.A. Milne, Christopher Robin Milne, and how these stories were made. But the last little bit of background information about Winnie the Pooh that I will leave you with is something nice and sweet.
Okay.
You can visit the original toys that belong to Christopher Robin Milne today, and they are in the children's wing of the main branch of the New York Public Library. Pooh, Eeyore, Tigger, Piglet, and Kanga are all on display for you to see yourself.
Why do I have chills? Oh my God.
I know. So if you're in New York City, if you're doing our Disney days that we gave you last time,
that's a great part of a Disney
throw
day.
this one in.
Oh
throw this one in with Fantasyland. Go by the New York Public Library and go see Winnie the Pooh and his friends. Oh, there she goes.
I literally knew when you said you were going to talk about Pooh, I was like, oh no, it's going to break me.
I know. So like I was saying, this is a different sort of character curation.
I would say so.
I'm taking Winnie the Pooh and I'm trying to distill Pooh down to his essence in finding these things. Mm-hmm. And really I'm trying to also target them for, us, the people who are listening to this, because this is a Disney podcast for grown-ups.
We deserve it.
We relate to Winnie the Pooh in a different sort of way. And so I'm going to start out with a playlist for you all, something to listen to. So when I think of music that fits the essence of Winnie the Pooh, obviously I'm going to go in the route of music from the various movies and TV shows. And So they're going to be in here. But I feel like a lot of the music associated with the most recent feature film from 2011 really captured that transcendental essence of Pooh that spans across generations.
Yeah.
To me, when I think of Winnie the Pooh, it feels like a breath and a long sigh. I know that's kind of weird. It's simple and it's happy, but it has this sort of melancholic undercurrent. And I think that happy but melancholic feeling speaks to the adults in us, yearning back to our childhood with Pooh, but also remembering that the 100-acre wood can be for all of us.
Unless Connor destroys it in the Beluga Savruga brackets.
Oh, shut up. Shut up. So with that in mind, that's where I'm coming from with my playlist. So there's music from both Winnie the Pooh, and I've also included some artists and songs that I think help encapsulate that sort of essence. So I've constructed my playlist in a specific order to listen to that make the most sense.
Perfect.
You know, it's going to be a little bit wacky at times because you're going to have some modern artists mixed with some Winnie the Pooh stuff, but just bear with it and go for it. I think I've timed some of the Winnie the Pooh specific moments in a way that sort of brings you that smile to your face.
Oh, good. Okay.
And then you can sort of get lost in your thoughts.
Great.
So a lot of these songs are very lyrical, very poetic as well. So first song, you're going to start off with Winnie the Pooh from 1977's The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, written by the Sherman Brothers, sung by the original chorus. You got to start there. They do the main theme, and then it trails out into the sort of orchestral underscore that begins the start of the movie, and it's just nice to live there a little bit. I love it. The first artist that I'm going to bring up is Ingrid Michaelson.
Oh, yeah.
Because Ingrid Michaelson is exactly that poetic, it's that long breath. And so we're going to start with The Chain from the album Everybody.
No.
It's nice. I think that song really just walks that melancholic and optimistic line.
Yeah.
And then we're going to pick things up with a song called White Nights by Oland, which I think a lot of people probably wouldn't know of.
No.
She's a Brooklyn artist. I was introduced to this song my freshman year of college, and it's just a bop. And when you listen to it, you'll hear it. It fits. You'll hear it.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I really want people to listen to this. The next song, going back to our very lyrical, poetic world, got to have Regina Spektor.
Yeah.
The queen of a long breath.
Totally.
So we're going to listen to Eat, which is, I love that song. So good.
That's a great
There's lots of piano,
Yeah.
lots of guitar, lots of strings. And then our fifth song on the playlist, we're pulling right from 2011's Winnie the Pooh, written by Bobby Lopez and Kristen Anderson Lopez. Everything is Honey, which is performed by Jim Cummings and Zooey Deschanel. This is the one that starts with the honey, 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 honey,
Yes.
honey. Oh my God, it's so good.
So
I love this song.
cute. Oh, man.
And then fresh off of, dipping our toes into the honey sweet world of Pooh Bear, we're going to start extrapolating and letting our minds wander back off with an a cappella piece sung by Sarah Bareilles, Kaleidoscope Heart.
Oh, man. I love that song.
I do too. It's short, it's sweet, and it's
hope.
it's inspirational, it's wonderful, and that sort of takes us into our second phase of this playlist. And then once you know, it looks like Ingrid Michaelson is back.
Hey, girl.
This Ingrid Michaelson song that is next on our list is Keep Breathing, which, such a good song.
I used to listen to that in college when I was so overwhelmed.
Yeah. Oh my God. During the pandemic, I've been listening to this song a lot. The next song is one that I think a lot of people probably don't know. It's a song, it's called Folie à Deux, and it's by Al Olander. So a lot of people don't know who this artist is. She's actually a friend of mine.
Yes.
And this was written by her. We grew up together. So maybe for me, it's on here because of my personal nostalgia and all the memories that come
That's cool.
flooding back to me when I listen to it. But I think it stylistically fits. And I don't know. There's just something just so raw and from the heart about it that I think a lot of you will listen to it. And she's a great artist, and hopefully maybe I'm introducing some people to her.
Yes, I love that.
She's really, really talented. I have so many stories with me and Allie Olander. Our penultimate song on our playlist is Goodbye Farewell from 2018's Christopher Robin.
No.
What I like about this song is it's a goodbye song, but it's sung, it's very upbeat and it's very optimistic, and it's sung by all the Pooh characters. So this is a good way to sort of creep into the ending. But then this is an attack. I'm going to end us with a little bit of a reach into your gut and pull it out a little bit. Okay. Somewhere Only We Know by Keane. So this was the song that was used in the trailer for the 2011 film. And they could not have picked a better song to welcome us back to the 100 Acre Wood. So I am invoking Keane to close us out of this playlist.
Ow, my throat. Oh my God.
That's our Winnie the Pooh playlist. It's nice. It's a good one. Oh, so enjoy that when you want to just, while you're working, you're feeling down and you just need to have a second to breathe. And
this is going to make me cry. This isn't going to make me breathe at all. I'm just going to cry.
No, it's meant to be happy. None of these songs are sad.
They're not.
They're contemplative.
Sometimes that melancholy stuff is harder for me, even than the straight up sad songs. This is, oof.
Yeah, I get that. But I think also that melancholy stuff is really good for your soul.
Yeah, okay.
So next I have on a watch list, I'm really only going to pull out one example here, one thing for you to watch. So there are so many great Pooh films and TV shows to watch on Disney+. I'm a huge fan of the fact that the TV show, The New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, is on there because I loved watching that show growing up.
Me too.
I was trying to find the main title song to put somewhere on this playlist, but I couldn't find it anywhere. It's weirdly not licensed. But God, that song is so good.
Oh my God.
Good old 80s, early 90s
I know.
beauty. Pooh Bear, Winnie the Pooh Bear, wherever you go.
Looking for fun. I'm in a honey tree, Pooh.
Yes, such a good song. But that being said, that wonderful TV show is available to you on Disney+.
Yes.
But the thing that I'm going to call out is 2011's Winnie the Pooh.
I still haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
No.
Oh my gosh. Well, I know this is the newer one, but I loved this movie.
Okay.
I saw it in theaters the day that it came out, which was the same day as Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. I went to the midnight premiere of that and then came back later the next day for this movie.
Wow.
And I loved it. But I think one of my favorite things was that it really captured that essence of the 1977 film, but with a new story. It plays with the storybook aspects of the design in a similar way, but they've got new things that they're trying and new things that they're playing with. Yeah, so I think it's really great. Critics praised the movie, especially for it being so faithful to the original Milne stories. In fact, a lot of the negative critiques are just that it was too short and they wanted more of it. So I'm like, of all the critiques out there, that's the one that I'll take. The movie, if you haven't seen it, follows Pooh on a quest for more honey as he wakes to find that he is out. So while searching for honey, we discover that Eeyore has lost his tail, and Christopher Robin is going to hold a contest to find Eeyore a new tail, and the winner gets a fresh new pot of honey. But when Pooh goes to visit Christopher Robin, he finds a note from him that says that he will be back soon, which Al interprets as the Backsin, which is a monster that he thinks has abducted Christopher Robin, which causes all of the friends to go on an adventure to quote-unquote save Christopher Robin. It's wonderful. It's simple and just clever and fun.
Gosh.
It has great new songs by Bobby Lopez and Kristen Anderson Lopez. It's narrated by John Cleese. And even has Zooey Deschanel as the featured vocalist, which I think fits right into this world.
Does.
It's that that long breath and a sigh moment. Like that's her voice will do that. But I think one of my favorite things of all about this movie is the animation. I remember seeing it on the big screen and I was like, is something wrong with the projector? And then I realized the outlines of all of the characters waver. like pencil illustrations. So you get even more of that feeling of jumping right into a storybook. It's a wonderful movie. It does the job so well. And so that's my pick for you.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of reading, I think the most obvious choice for adults looking to connect with their inner Pooh is The Tao of Pooh by Benjamin Hoff.
So good. Oh, it's so good.
I'm going to preface this that while this book has been on my reading list for a very long time, I never have actually gotten around to reading it. And now that I'm now that I'm writing this, I'm like, well, I have to change that and make that happen. So
Yay.
The Tao of Pooh and its companion, The Dev Piglet, were written as introductory texts to Taoism for Westerners. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with Taoism, my memory of AP World History in 10th grade and a quick Wikipedia article would say that it is a Chinese philosophy that emphasizes living in harmony with everything around you. Tao translates in English to the way and refers to the path, or some say the flow of the universe. And it's something that we can cultivate in ourselves. The De refers to virtue or power that comes from an individual living the Tao. So that is a, really, really simplified version of kind of some of the basic principles of this. The Tao of Pooh was published in 1982, and it spent 49 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list. And in this book, Benjamin Hoff relates the basic principles of Taoism using the characters of A.A. Milne's Winnie the Pooh stories and The House at Pooh Corner. He even uses direct passages and quotes from those stories. In brief, Pooh is used as the example of the character that is most exemplative of that Taoist philosophy from the way that he interacts with the world, his simple-minded nature, and also his sort of effortless doing, which is a principle of Taoism. But I'm going to throw another recommendation in here for you.
Yes.
This is a less obvious reading choice. And this was a book that was given to me by my dad this past Easter. And it came to him as a recommendation from his twin, my Aunt Susan, who had shared it with him. And it's called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse by Charlie Maxey. I believe this book was published this year or last year, and it's absolutely beautiful. So Charlie Maxey is an artist specializing as a cartoonist, and this book is born out of these ink and watercolor cartoons of a boy, mole, fox, and horse in different situations, accompanied by little quotes or conversations from the characters, all handwritten / hand-painted to match the pictures. You can even go on his website and you can buy prints of some of these. There is one that I'm absolutely going to buy where it is the mole in front of a layered cake that just says, well, hello. So I'm gonna need that. I shared that with you. But what I love about this book is that harkens back to that A.A. Milne style.
It's the same feeling.
In a very contemporary way. It's like if someone pulled all of the quotes that they used from Winnie the Pooh for cards and plaques and made them into a picture book for adults, people of all ages. The story itself is not very linear per se. It's linear really in just sort of slowly introducing you to some of the different characters, but plot-wise, it doesn't really exist. But for me, I like to read it in an even more nonlinear way, which is astounding for someone like me. So what I do is I'll read a page a day and I just flip to a random page and use whatever is on the page to just sort of connect it to my life or reflect. It's a wonderful book. It's beautiful. It's I think it's a book of simple wisdoms is what I would say. All the themes, they relate back to love and friendship and kindness, sometimes cake if you're a mole. And it's that same breath in the sigh that I think is Winnie the Pooh. So that's that. And then lastly, I didn't choose anything for you to buy per se. Instead,
it's best. That's my steez.
It's okay. But instead, I opted with something to wear.
Oh, yay.
When I think of something that brings me into the world of Pooh, I think mostly about who Pooh is most excited to see every day. And that's Christopher Robin. He's always dressed very sharply, very crisply. And it makes me think of like a wonderful spring weekend in a park where you don't have a single care in the world and you're just watching clouds or reading under a tree, or maybe you go to Central Park and you get on one of those boats that you think you know how to row, but you actually don't. And you just sit out there.
And you're crying.
Exactly. So if it were me, I'd lotion up those legs and get yourself in some nice dress shorts. Get a clean, sharp, probably white shirt, maybe collared or like a polo sort of situation. Some casual shoes and socks that are still nice. So not like tennis shoes, like maybe some like loafers or like that sort of situation.
Loafers, yeah.
And then I would do my hair really, really nice, really, really clean. You brush it, put some product in it, just really just take care of yourself. Clean, crisp all around so that you can just finally relax your shoulders. And yeah, so I think that's the look that I would go for. Not necessarily you have to look a particular way, but just anything that makes you feel very clean, very crisp. Something where you can like go out and see the world and you just be like, I'm ready.
Aww.
It's that. So
sometimes I feel like Pooh when I'm at home and I'm not wearing any pants.
That's another way. So that's what I got. That's my character curation for Winnie the Pooh.
I love it.
It's a different vibe than I think I would have usually gone with. I would have been like, what's yellow? What's red? Wear that. Or like that sort of thing.
I really like that. Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to do something a little bit more grown up, something that people might actually use.
Yes.
So yeah, again, we'll have that playlist. I have it already made in Apple Music, so we'll also put it on Spotify.
Mine will probably be, some of mine will definitely need to be a YouTube playlist as well, because some of mine are definitely not on Spotify or Apple Music. But we'll show them to you. We'll
figure it out.
Yeah.
But I just want to thank the people who suggested Winnie the Pooh for me. My dad suggested it. Erin, my sister, suggested, and Emily on Instagram suggested it. I didn't realize until I was preparing this how much I needed to spend some time. Oh God, I feel like I'm going to cry.
Yeah. I was waiting
how
for
much
it.
time, how much time I needed to spend with Winnie the Pooh. So
boy,
I really appreciate.
You need to watch Christopher Robin. I think it might be time.
Oh, I don't know. But I thank you for that opportunity, because I feel like we all could use a little bit of Pooh.
It's true.
And with that, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for listening.
He's
if you liked what you heard, please.
And still trying to finish the episode.
I'm forcing through. I'm trying to just force it out.
So sad to watch.
If you liked what you heard, or if you feel sympathy from me as I'm crying, please give us a 5-star rating, write us a review, and make sure that you hit that follow or subscribe button wherever you're listening to the podcast. That way you don't miss out on any episodes, more opportunities of me crying, all that good stuff.
Oh.
It'll all download right to your device. And yeah, we want you here for the long haul. So thanks in advance for that.
Speaking of the long haul too, please join us on Facebook in our private Facebook group, The Poor Unfortunate Fam, which is where our listeners can interact with us more, interact with each other, and discuss the episodes. And it really is just like such a great feeling of community there. So if honestly, after that Winnie the Pooh playlist, like you need to be held virtually, that will be the place for you to go.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah. You can also find Poor Unfortunate Podcast on Facebook and Instagram at Poor Unfortunate Podcast, and on Twitter at Unfortunate Pod. So please follow us. We'll put up a lot of the links to the things we've mentioned in that episode on social media. And again, we got our ideas from this episode through an Instagram poll. So definitely join us so that you can give your input next time we ask for some episode ideas.
Absolutely. And if you're not on social media or have any questions or future ideas for episodes, you can also email us. Our email is poorunfortunatepodcast@gmail.com. We love getting those emails. And then the last thing that I'm going to say is that it does take us some money to keep the podcast up and running and coming to you. And we do have a PayPal account. It is linked in the episode description below, and is also in our website links on our social media accounts. Truly, anything that you have to spare goes a long way for us. You can make $1 donations, $5, $10, more than that. You can make it one time or monthly. It all goes right back into the podcast and just helps us make sure that we are continuing to bring you some podcast content that you love. So there's that. Okie dokie. Well, the episode is over. We did it. Until next time, Beluga Savruga.